and die.
Welcome to another podcast. Today we are going to start off by introducing everybody else. If people know who I am Kemet 1976. You can get at me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other media I'm on if you know me. I will start off by introducing Lazy Mapper as usual.
Yeah, hi, this is the Lazy Mapper, also known as Jake Powers 29, and I'm going to get you, sucker. And I'm happy to be here with Kemet and a couple guests who are great mappers that great to have them part of the community.
Yeah, definitely. Slim, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm a builder from the previous Far Cry's, and they invited me on here to talk about Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5.
Sweet. Seth?
How you doing, guys? I'm Seth. Go by Seth01. I'm on the PlayStation 4 and PC, and also enjoy making maps, and it's cool to get on here with Kemet and talk about Far Cry 5.
Sweet. So, we're just going to get straight into it. I mean, this is our second podcast. Before we do start, commiserations to Fallen Champ. He couldn't be with us. He got roasted, work related. That was yeah. So Fallen Champ's not with us tonight, but he will be with us again for the next podcast. So yeah, Fallen. Sorry about that, guy. But anyway, we're going to get into it tonight. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the Map Jam 1 and 2 contest there, because that's something that we didn't talk about in our last podcast. So I'll just hand the reins over to Lazy. Yeah, go on.
Well, I thought it was awesome that the community from Ubisoft has reached out and showed support for the map editor, because personally I thought it was gone when they made so many changes, and then Primal came out and it didn't have an editor, and then you had Matthias, the manager community. Community manager. Yeah, Matthias came out with these map jams, and I thought, wow, this is really awesome to have so much contact with the, having these contests. I thought that was great. And then he had another one right away. I was like, wow. I thought he'd be like overwhelmed. I'm not doing this shit again.
We'll get a third one. Nudge.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
I just thought it was really great. And because I've seen other contests. There's always going to be controversy. You can't make it like perfect. You can't please everybody too.
So with the Map Jam contest, I know that what I did was, I played, I live streamed quite a few of the maps that were built. Not so much the first Map Jam contest, but I know that Lazy, you covered some of those Map Jam contests, didn't you? And so did Fallen Champ. He covered quite a lot. He covered a range on all three platforms. He did.
Yes. and I couldn't believe he did it. You know, so,
Yeah, that was insane.
Videos.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
insane, man.
And
Seriously.
we talked about them. I would have just recorded them and then
yeah,
But
that's-
it goes to show how dedicated he is to the community, and to be honest, I've known him for years. Do you know what I mean?
I known him too for years, and we didn't really talk that much. I would just see him in a passing, but I would go on the forums. He's there, and I'm like, man, this guy, does he got stock in the company?
Well, I remember when I started, Fallen Champ was the guy to go to at the time when I was playing, before I actually started making custom maps in the first place. He was the guy to go to who hosted matches, but then he moved from the 360 to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Good
he
move.
started on the original Far Cry, so he's pretty much always been the guy to go to.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
great. He's got wealth of information. He knows.
Yeah, he's a wealth of information, definitely.
Yeah. And he's like, pretty laid back where,
So with the
personally, I don't like prima donnas kind of people. I mean, I know somebody's a great map editor, but when they sit there and just brag about it constantly, it's like, there's a whole bunch of great editors out there.
So with the Map Jam competition, the first Map Jam competition, do you know who the winners were? As a matter of fact, Slim, you know a lot about the Map Jam competitions, don't you? The first one. So could you tell me who the winners were of that, or at least who entered, whichever platform?
I mean, actually, like everybody pretty much entered. Dapper Hayden entered. I mean, I entered. Seto entered. Fallen Champ entered, even though he was filming all the maps.
Yeah.
Dapper was a winner. He built like a farm tractor map. I think it was best graphics for PC.
Right. That was the first Map Jam, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Trying to recall all the winners, but I did win a gameplay, I think.
Okay.
And level design, but I think somebody named Blossom won. I think.
Yes.
Was it
Right.
Blossom?
Yeah,
Like
he
a
changed
free
his
roam
name
map. You
to-
actually parachute from the sky. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Seto didn't win, even though he had 5 maps that were all.
I thought it was a really good move on Ubisoft's part. I mean, even to represent the community, because for quite some time, we've all felt like the mapping community has always held this game up. Do you know what I mean? Because you know me, I call it life after campaign. And obviously with the mapping community, I felt like that it's not really been represented as much. Like it's always been a sort of like a back burner, or being backbenched. Do you know what I mean?
Like an
Sort of thing. Yeah. I've always felt like that. So it was nice for somebody like Matthias. And before that, there was Ubi Jax, and I think that was something that was said in the last podcast. But it's nice to be represented. Especially the mapping community, and for people.
The UB Jack guy, he was really nice, but he just seemed like he was very limited. You know what I'm saying? When me and him, we would talk to him on the forums, and he goes, "Well, I'm gonna put your guy. You got. We're gonna put it on a featured map." I'm like, "What? Oh, really? Wow, that's nice." It's always good to, as a mapper, and I try to. In my own way, I would send messages to Ubisoft and say, if you try and get some of these maps, recognized a little bit, a mapper who puts a lot of effort in their maps, they'd like to get recognized a little bit. So,
Speaking of recognizing, I forgot to mention Sucka did win as well.
oh yes, thank you.
And Alka Young.
So what about the Map Jam 2 contests?
Seto was the winner of the Beautiful Vigilance map.
got
Fun
it, man.
fact, when I was working on my my map, I was building the castle part, and I saw Seto's map. I'm like, damn. I gotta make my castle better now.
I've always felt that Slim was like the king of castles. Like every time I got on, he was always building some type of castle. It's just crazy. Do you know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, yeah, Slim used to show me around his maps a lot, yeah, and it used to be crazy, sort of like open areas with some really good sort of like castle builds. You know what I mean? Just the type that make you feel really envious. You know what I mean?
It looked like a level in Skyrim. Right?
Yeah,
I remember,
yeah, definitely.
That other map, I think it was on Far Cry 3. It was like Breakstone or something. That was
Drakestone.
yeah, Drakestone.
Drakestone and Dethroned. Dethroned,
Yeah.
I think, was definitely better, but Drakestone, yeah, was like the Skyrim map.
Yeah, but I was like, wow, I've never seen buildings like.
So does does anyone remember who the winners were and categories for Map Jam 2? I feel like I should have done my homework a little bit more personally, you know what I mean? But I just played them on Twitch, so well, I'll leave it in your hands.
Zula made Paliscape. Me and Alpha Sergeant actually played through that map, and really cool map. I don't know if you guys played it, but
I'm not sure whether I actually played that. That was obviously that one was on PC, right?
I thought that was awesome. You played it on Twitch. I knocked you down and the rhinos down there.
Oh, right, okay. I did play that on Twitch, right? Okay.
Yes. I got a little frustrated because it was like a little puzzle at the end.
Wait, no, it wasn't right. Wait, was there rhinos in that section? I must have missed it.
Was that was the escape map, right?
Yeah, you had to escape the jail cell and then you get out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
The other map was made by somebody on console. Forget what was that? Was made by a guy named like Chicken Cheese. I actually did not play that map because I'm not on console, so
right.
I don't know if you guys played it.
Yeah,
I played it. I played it. I mean, I think it's a new mapper.
Right.
Do a lot, you know. There's some like minor little things that, as a new mapper, you're gonna.
Is somebody got something cooking? I can hear a microwave in the background.
Yeah, I can hear a microwave.
Oh God. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
But he had a cave map. He had animal. You know, I thought it was a nice map. You know, I
loaded up the video and just dragged through real quick. Yeah, it's a cool map.
Yeah, there was a slight occlusion problem when you were coming out of the cave, but that's something you learn eventually.
Yeah.
As a mapper, like, why is everything disappearing? That was always annoying. Like, what piece is doing this?
Right.
I'm gonna skip one of these because I feel like this is something we should talk about. But next, we're going to talk about Long Rider.
Yes.
He built image MJ2 The Last Dragon.
Oh,
yeah. That I like that. I did play that. That was a really cool map.
Fun fact: I own 1% of his map because I gave him the idea to remove something that shouldn't be there. So.
1%.
I think he gets stickers as a prize. Maybe he'll send us some. Well, you got a prize anyway.
Oh, that was nice. Look, we're gonna sort of like move from the Map Jam contest because I had fun playing those Map Jam contests and playing through the maps, and the Twitch was off the hinges as well too. Me getting roasted on half the maps, thinking I was some sort of Rambo and whatnot, but it was absolute fun, and this is what Far Cry is about. Actually, I'm going to say Far Cry is more, instead of it being more of a community, it's more of a family, I believe. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's got that feel to it. And I remember back when I was playing Far Cry 2, that I've got the same feeling now. Do you know what I mean? More than anything else, and also the excitement of Far Cry 5 coming out as well too, which sort of goes into the the new trailer that dropped at Paris Games Week this week. There was a new trailer that dropped. To be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get more than a one. I think it was like 1 minute and 25 seconds. I believe the trailer was short. But when you slow it down, it still had a lot of things about. So obviously we know about the main campaign and we know about the trailer. I mean the co-op. So with the co-op, how do you think the co-op sort of differs between Far Cry 4 and this new co-op compared to what we've seen? I know it's only a small trailer, but what do you guys think?
It seems the same to me.
Yeah, I don't see much different, to be honest.
Okay.
Maybe your progress will be saved when you're playing with your friend, but if you go back to your game, it's not going to be saved. So I think that's a problem.
Well, I actually looked at it and I've been thinking about it ever since, and I don't think that for me it's not really a problem. Actually, I think for me it's more of a case of how you use it. So, like, say for instance, if there was a part that I struggled with, like, say, I don't know if you can change the difficulty setting on it, but say for instance, for example, I stuck it on the hardest setting, right? You know,
Yeah.
and I came up against a town or a part of the map here that I couldn't do, and I invited a friend, right, to help me out do that part of the map here. I think that would be great, but what I've heard is that you can keep all your personal progress, like say for instance your XP, possibly weapons or something that you find, or anything to do with your person. But the only thing that wouldn't change is like say for instance a part of the map that you've completed with your friend as a guest. You could go back into your own map and then you could complete it in a different way. Maybe it might help out. Maybe there's a part of the map here that you couldn't complete, and then you complete it as a co-op, and then you've like, right, okay, then I see how this is done. Maybe I can do this a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Or your friend can join in and help you do that later on. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, see what you mean.
That's true.
Well, I think any feature you add to the game is a positive,
In most cases.
Yeah. And the trailer I thought was done really, really nice. It makes you think, oh, wow, I get to do this and that with your friend. And yeah, it's pretty similar to Far Cry 3, but maybe, like Kemet said, you might be able to have some weapons. Maybe you'll be able to transfer some things over. But, it's not still like Borderlands where the process of
actually
what you could do in Borderlands. So that I guess that would be a slight disappointment.
See what I found is I mean, for some people, the thing is it's what works for one person doesn't always work for somebody else. And what I found is with Borderlands, it's great being able to have that progress and that, But the problem that I found is, like, say for instance, when I'm playing Borderlands and there's a level that I want to do, sometimes I like to go through levels nice and slowly and nice and easy. But when you're with a group of people, they like to get through it really fast, and then they like to do things. They don't like to slow things down. Do you know what I mean?
True, but you also have the option to play with them or not, though.
Yeah, you do have that option as well too. But for me, it's nice. Like, say for instance, Slim, if I joined in a match with you, sent me an invite, and we did a level together, it would be nice if I seen something in that level and I know that you've only got a certain amount of time and you miss it, and you've missed it on purpose, and you said, "Oh no, I can't be bothered with that. Let's just go and do this objective." At least I can go back to my world and I can say, right, okay, then I want to have a look around there because last time Slim missed it. Do you see what I mean? So you've got that option there.
Another topic around that is if you are playing co-op with somebody, you're probably just gonna be in the same game the entire time. So there'll probably be one host and the other person won't be the host. The only problem is if you aren't the host, you won't be able to experience the friends for hire feature as well. I mean,
a good point in the chat as well.
Well, the one thing too I don't think they touched on is, does it scale? Like, if you have two players, does it get easier or harder?
It should. That's how
it should. It should. That's something that's interesting. It would be nice that if you had that extra player in there, that the enemies would scale.
I think I think Borderlands would do that. Even the weapons.
Borderlands do that. Borderlands do that, and Warframe does that. So, like, say for instance, the more players that you've got in there, the enemies scale, so they become a little bit more tougher. I think it's actually more harder in Borderlands. You can definitely tell in Borderlands without question.
Don't
do you know what I mean?
Me started on Warframe and Borderlands, both amazing.
Both, of course,
They
yeah,
are, actually.
of course. So with that, you know, with that, I did have a look at the clip. And you guys know me as a bow person, so I like my compound bow, and that compound bow looks absolutely amazing. That new compound bow, it's like an update.
Yeah, it does look good. Yeah.
Do you know what I
I'm a
mean?
big fan of the bat.
I think Fallen Champ mentioned that last time. Just getting
yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
visual man,
I love the bat.
obviously, so you use the bat.
Yeah.
Me and Fallen Champ were able to play the demo in LA, and he loved it because you hear like the sound effect to hit somebody's skull, and he goes,
Yeah.
"You feel it when you hit it?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're a sicko, Fallen."
Right. I'm just checking the chat here, and what do you call it? First of all, Lazy Muppet, Kemet is good at Far Cry roasting. I'm good at microwave roasting.
Yeah, she's guilty of that. She's
Right.
guilty of
Okay.
that.
Well, here's
That's
the thing, though. At
that's
least
sweet.
microwave roasting is a plus. You know, roasting is a negative.
No, you can't. Like, I can't be roasted anyway. I've got like a billion lives anyway when it comes to roasting, so I could be roasted over and over
It doesn't
again.
mean it doesn't hurt. Right?
Let's not get into that. But anyway, the second thing is what do you call it? Steve Botter. The thing that bugs me with co-op in Far Cry 5 is that if you complete the whole campaign in co-op with a friend, at the end game only one player will have the full game complete on record. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think a lot of people don't care about that, but I mean, I probably would care about them. I'm a big fan of accomplishments and like achievements in games. So
Yeah.
Well, if you like, you know, when you're younger, best friend, and you're like, look, we got the Far Cry 5 game. Let's play it in co-op,
Yeah.
and then one person's gonna get all the credit. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, trick your friend, and you should be hosting because you have better internet connection.
I think one thing's missing. Even though they've done all of this, you know, they've done this thing for campaign and co-op. The co-op part of it, yeah. I think the one thing that's missing is the couch co-op. You know, split screen. You know, that's something that we're missing. It would be nice, you know, if I sat down with say my girlfriend's son Troy, yeah, and played couch co-op, you know, in Far Cry. That would be really cool. You know, on split screen.
About couch co-op is a lot of games aren't having it nowadays. Nothing that's I'm not entirely certain, but I remember reading something about this related to like more processing power or something because those two screens are a big deal.
Yeah.
Yes. Right
Yeah.
about that too.
Well, I do understand that. It's just a feature that you know that probably could have been in the game, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Borderlands again.
Yeah, Borderlands. Yeah,
Borderlands
Borderlands seem
Probably
to
will
do
always
it.
have it.
Yeah, Borderlands seem to do it. So you know,
But in defense of Far Cry 5, it has a map editor.
the map editor. We can't escape the map editor. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what we all live for.
As you were talking about the co-op feature, and we have co-op in Far Cry 4. I don't know how many people actually use that. I mean, I know you and Kemet use it maybe. I know I used it with Fallen Champ. We would both go in a map and have fun with it.
Yeah.
I wonder, and you can't scale for that, but that would be interesting if that was a feature in Far Cry 5. If you made a custom map and it was co-op, you know, maybe it'd be harder to kill some of the enemies or something, or maybe more show up.
Yeah, scaling feature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting back to the trailer, as I mentioned the sort of compound bow. I don't know if anyone saw any weapons that we didn't see, but I did see, and it was quite funny when I did see it. Did you see the new animal that was in there? There was an animal in there, yeah, and it was doing some really naughty things.
Did we get a roasted cup? If we have
I
to-
think somebody got I think somebody got roasted by a honey badger, but the way that honey badger grabbed hold of that guy was by his nuts. Did you not see it?
No, I didn't
Yeah, it
see
was
that.
two play. How did you miss that? How did you miss that? It gripped him by his nuts. I think it was like if you go back and have a look at the trailer again, do you know what I mean? I think it's like 1 minute and one or something like that. There's a honey, you have to slow it down, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's you get gripped by the nuts.
Yeah, it's getting.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you look on the top left-hand side of the screen, there's actually a trailer playing. There's literally two trailers playing. There's one with the co-op trailer, and there is a clip with Occult Rising. I don't know if any of you guys actually saw that video. I think it's called Far Cry 5. Yeah, Far Cry 5 Occult Rising, I believe it's called.
Yeah. Pretty sure I saw it. It's been like 5 years though.
So the other thing is what you call it. There is certain things in co-op where you can't stray far from your co-op partner as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard you respawn or
Actually-
something.
I
Respawn
actually
back.
don't agree with that. Because even the other Far Cry co-ops, you can go across pretty much most of the map, and I don't think you'd be dragged, could you? You
Well,
go anywhere you wanted.
I don't know how far apart you can sort of like go from each other, but what purpose would it serve for your partner to be on the other side of the map anyway, really?
That's true, but there's a cool fun factor about exploring the same map, but knowing your partner is in the general distance, but still
Yeah.
doing
That could
your
be
own
cool.
thing.
You could say, "Hey, man, I
Yeah.
discovered a cave
But-
over here. Can we
yeah.
check it
You
out?"
must be able to go quite far because there's a plane in it, so I can't see it. Yeah, it must be able to be quite far apart, I would think.
I would say that. Do you know what I mean? It would be nice for the. Yeah, it would be. It would be. Yeah, go on.
Speaking about animals and stuff, Montana's known to have. Curious, didn't see anything with horses in it. I thought that would be a cool feature. If you made a map and you ride a horse and
That would be cool, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen. But one topic related to what we were just talking about, can you fish in co-op? Is the question.
Looks like you
Is-
can. They showed fishing.
I know you guys aren't the biggest fan of like mini games, but I live for mini games like that.
Yeah.
So,
So
I got to try it at LA. I know Fallen wasn't too thrilled.
no, he's not happy about fishing.
But
Not fishing, man.
I was never like they had that big bass fishing and Xbox and stuff, and I was never into it. But I thought it was kind of cool is that your controller would vibrate when it would like grab it,
Yeah.
and you could feel it like almost like it was getting pulled away. And the bigger the fish was on your line, the more it would vibrate, and you knew you had a big fish.
Yeah.
And when you try to reel it up, it could break your line.
but
So
yeah,
there's a challenge to it, so I thought it was.
there's a lot of fishing games and video games. Final Fantasy 15, Stardew Valley. There's a lot
Yeah.
of games with fishing, and
Yeah,
they all seem to do
there's
it differently. Like,
And even
there's a lot of different
yeah.
fishing variations.
even you wouldn't believe this, but
Oh,
even Warframe has put that. Yeah, they've got the new fishing thing in
I
there.
fish so much, dude. I've almost maxed it out.
I wanna sort of pull something up. I've got some FAQs about the trailer as well too. It's something that I mean, some of it is really simple and common sense, really and truthfully. The FAQs for Far Cry 5 co-op, right? So the question is, do I need an internet connection to play co-op? Well, yes, you need you need an internet connection, definitely, because obviously there's no split screen, and they've not talked about split screen.
Question
So
for Dummies 101.
well, the second one, is what missions can be played in co-op, and the answer is all missions are playable in co-op in Far Cry 5.
Obviously, the catch is what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get it.
So I'm just going through these questions one by one. How do I invite my friends to play co-op? Question. Answer. The invitation system is based on your platform, friends list, PC, PSN, Xbox Live. You can invite one friend to join your game in co-op. In the game's main menu, you can invite a friend to join your game using your friends list. Once your friends has accepted, they will automatically join your game and be nearby your character. Do you know, this is practically sort of like common sense. Another question: what is a host and what is a guest in co-op mode? I'm going to pass that one. Will there be in-game chat? Well, you need in-game chat. You need to. It's a co-op mode, so I'm actually going to pass some of these questions because some of them are common sense, as far as I'm concerned. Another question is it possible to disable the co-op mode in my game? And it says, you can choose the disabled player joining you in co-op. So if you're disabling co-op, that means I'm not sure whether it's possible if you've got like an option where any of your friends can actually join you. So it's like a bit like Minecraft. If you've got like an open server or you've got an open game where any of your friends can just join you, or you can set it to private or invite only. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So I mean that's something that I don't like. So I mean, so for me, I will probably set it to invite only because I just don't like random people joining me or even random friends.
You don't want random people taking all your loot.
Well, they're not going to earn anything in there, are they? You know what I mean?
Can they actually pick up stuff though?
I mean, there would be like we talked about, there is player progress, just not game progress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so if they're a player in that game, they probably keep their progress when they join back.
Yeah, so it's so there's so many possibilities. Right, okay then. What progression is not saved when I am playing co-op as a guest? Right, this is what we were talking about. As a guest, your world progression, reputation, and quest-related unlocks are not saved once you are back in your own world. Right, what is the world progression? The world progression refers to all quests, activities and contents completed or unlocked within your game. Only the players hosting the co-op game keep their world progression when playing co-op. That's exactly what we talked about. What is the player progression? Right, this is something that's interesting, right? The player progression is your personal progression, including your XP, your in-game currency, your inventory items, your items purchased in the shop, your challenges completed, etc. Some specific items unlocked during quests in co-op will not be saved after leaving co-op session. Ouch. Both host player and friends for hire keep their player progression in co-op. Right. So it's like your player can progress, but anything that you do in that world, if you're the host, will not carry over. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing I could say about that is at least they were up front. I can't stand developers that will say, "Well, we're still working."
Yeah.
They were up front with it, so I have to give them kudos for that.
Yep. That's really interesting. So I mean, I don't think like I have to, I can't always spin a sort of like positive yarn on this game, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't think a lot of people in the community are sort of happy with the way that the co-op mode is kind of looking right about now. I mean, I've got to be honest about that.
I'm with you. I'm not really I'm more interested in the map editor per se, but I do think co-op is important because it can be carried over to the map editor.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, most of us are all fans, and I've asked Kemet this, and with most of us are fans of the editor, And I know if they asked me if somehow I had a choice of what I would prefer in the game, they can only work on one. I would say the editor, hands down. You know.
Yeah, I would choose
If
the
they
editor.
had, sure.
I mean, I'm definitely in agreement. I mean, all of us here would choose the editor, but I'm actually interested. I'm going to tell you something, yeah, because I'm interested in quite a bit of it because number one, the story. I've never really been interested in the story. Too tough. Apart from obviously Predator and Far Cry 3. Now the story has kind of gripped me with this new protagonist, not protagonist, bad guy. Would you call him? I've forgotten his name.
Villain.
Yeah, the new villain. Yeah. So I mean, you know, his story sounds interesting. Do you know what I mean? And also co-op mode. Now I played co-op mode. I've played co-op mode with yourself, Lazy Map, and we've had some incredible fun. I've played with Fallen Champ, and I've played with Dapper Hayden as well too. And the fun that I've had playing that year has just absolutely been just crazy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm actually interested in the co-op mode as in just sort of playing a game and just having fun. My main, I mean, obviously, what I'm more looking forward to is definitely the editor, the multiplayer, and so forth. So it would be nice, you know, for some info to come out. I mean, we're literally 4 months away from the release of Far Cry 5, and I'm actually sure that you know that some info about that will definitely come out without question.
Guess we'll see. You know.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'd like to talk about just a little something that I found on Facebook as well too. I was reading. I think it was quite a few weeks ago. David Lambie shared a link in Far Cry Map Editors group about being unable to delete your own maps. Fallen Champ had mentioned it, not being able to delete your own maps, and the confusion that it causes as well too. Plus
I'm a minority on that.
Plus the auto scroll, plus something about the auto scroll as well, and snap tools. So deleting your own map, guys. Deleting your own map.
I think you should not be able to delete your own map.
Why?
A game called Trails Fusion. It works perfectly fine. You can publish infinite maps, but you cannot delete it. And I just like that feature. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think when you release a map, it's published, it's out there. That's it.
I don't know about deleting, but maybe updating. I think
Updating, I think
would be a good idea.
Because mods do that. You can update a map, and it appears in a recently updated list. For example, like Skyrim Nexus mods or anything like that. I mean, I guess Far Cry Nexus too. If you did Far Cry's on there.
So, Slim, I'm gonna ask, yeah. I mean, because we met on Far Cry 2. There was that option to be able to delete our own maps and republish it. So you didn't like that feature, or you weren't too keen on that feature because
I think in Far Cry 2 it made more sense because you only could publish 20 maps. Right. You could only have 20 maps, so if it didn't have that feature, that would be bad. But if you can publish infinite maps, I think there should be a limit. I think there should be a limit, but like Setho said, updating maps would be really good because mods do that and have done that for like 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should be able to erase your map, but if you couldn't, then update or have a beta where you could try it, like Far Cry 3 had. You could go in there before you publish it and have a bunch of friends check out your map before you let it loose.
Or you can. You should be able to do that without publishing it in Trails Fusion and Trails Evolution, which is published by Ubisoft also. You can host your map without publishing it in a private lobby with your friends, and they can test it.
All right.
Yeah, and you can test it on PC. I'm just mentioning about the console players. You can't.
Yeah, on console you can do that too on Trails. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do think that.
Didn't I mean that question about deleting your own maps and things like that, wasn't that put forward in the Ubisoft forums? Because I know Misty mentioned that they were looking into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Because I'm sure there was there was a post about it, and someone called Misty was looking into it in the Ubisoft forums.
Yes, she was one of the community managers on Far Cry 3, right? Or was it Far Cry 4? I don't remember.
I'm not sure, but I know it was. I know it's been looked into. I mean, that's the only information that I have on that, really and truthfully. And also, I mean, also as well, too, something that we've all talked about is the locking of maps, being able to lock your maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be an option at all to be able to edit unless there's an option to give it to a friend. I don't know. Like, I do think you should be able an easy way on console to give your friends your maps so you can do co-op maps.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the default feature is there should not be an option for people to edit your maps. However, mods, like on any platform, you can literally just download the file on PC and literally upload it. But here's the thing: nobody does that.
Yeah.
I think that people have too much of an advantage as well too, being able to edit somebody else's map. Like say for instance, I think the feature locking and unlocking a map, should be added, really and truthfully, because when you have a choice to lock and unlock your map. If I say, for instance, if I wanted someone's help, like say, for instance, I wanted to do a collaboration with Sepho, and I could unlock the map and pass it to him. He could do some things on it, or we could both work in the map together. That would be brilliant as well too. That would be a really nice feature to have at least two people working on the same map
At the same time.
at the same time.
I don't think that would happen.
It wouldn't happen, but I know it wouldn't happen, but it would be a nice feature to have. But what I'm saying is, as an example, is that if you had the lock and unlock feature, you could unlock it so that you could work on the map. Pass it to your friend, right? As an unlocked feature in a private lobby, they could download it, they could work on it, pass it back to you. Like basically like setting up a private lobby on Far Cry 2 and being able to do it that way. And then obviously when it goes to publishing the map, and you don't want anyone to mess with your map or anything like that, then you lock it so that people cannot alter it. Do you know what I mean? And put their stamp on it, because I think it's ridiculous that people like ourselves create these maps. We take literally months, because I know I take up to about 3 to 6 months to create a decent map, put it up, and it takes literally 2 seconds for somebody to see that map, look at it, and all they have to do is just download it, right? And put their name on it, basically repost it, or not even do anything on it. Or they might take a few weapons out, or they might add weapons in there, or whatever.
Or
do you know what I mean? Or possibly. I mean, it happened to me a couple of times. Like when I was streaming, and I was looking for a particular person's map, I literally had to look into the original creator. And if you notice, whenever I'm playing maps on Twitch, when I'm streaming maps, I always look at the original creator. And if the original creator isn't there, I don't play the maps.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
It's good that you do that.
Yeah, I won't do that. I won't play the map unless it's by the original creator.
I've talked about this before too, and I was thinking to learn from somebody's map, and I thought that if you lock a map, I think you should be able to maybe open it up and look at it in the editor, but not necessarily be able to publish it. So
if you're on PC, there's no way to I don't think avoid them opening up in the editor. But
well, there are mods that I think Steve Botter can answer that question, that you can't open it up, or when you open it up, it's all scrambled, the map. red spawns. A lot.
I have to. Sorry, guys. Just a little interruption. Steve Botter has put on the chat. Yeah, the Ubi community manager Misty said we are currently looking into this. Thank you. But that was like in 2014, so I'm a bit late to the party on that one, right?
Maybe they're still looking into it.
Maybe they're still looking into it.
One topic that ties together both of what you guys said about the last two topics is the original creator and co-op maps. Those two would have to both work together, because here's the thing: you said yourself, Kemet, you don't open up maps if it has doesn't have the original author, right?
Right. Okay.
But that's how people build co-op maps: is they have one name with the other. So there needs to be some way to combat that.
That's correct. Do you know what I mean? Well, maybe what they can do is they can have a feature on there. Yeah, like say for instance, I've noticed when I've been mapping on the PC, I think you still have that feature on the consoles, but I can't remember because it's been such a long time since I've created anything on the consoles, where you can put your map, you can choose like a theme for your map, like whether it's an action map or whether it's a creative map. Have you noticed that feature? Yeah, you can. So you can tag it. So maybe what you can do is you can tag it, as a co-op map. Do you know what I mean? A co-op made map. So a feature, something, some sort of feature, similar to that could be.
That'd be nice.
I was interested in asking you guys what you thought about the tags themselves, because I know that I like to, of course I love to play some of the top maps on PC, but on the consoles, they're, invincible flat maps. And I thought, why couldn't you look up a map by its tag? I thought that would be pretty cool. I think it's very limited what you can
tags
look
are
up.
very limited, and I think most of the tags are pointless.
Yeah.
Except maybe the co-op built one is definitely good, but like most of the tags are pointless in Far Cry games and most builder games, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I'm thinking even if you could add a custom tag to it, like type in something that you thought you and your friends could, be able to download it or check it out.
Custom tag, right? Is then they have to proof like you could put words in there that they don't want you to put. So
yeah, that's
For Far Cry Predator, they had descriptions, but they probably took it out of every other editor because it causes issues. Yeah. I know Trials Fusion you can put a description. So
there's another feature, guys, as well too, that's actually coming to the Xbox, I believe, and I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but they are currently talking about adding mouse and keyboard. Now that could change things for consoles. You can still use mouse and keyboard on consoles, but you have to have a certain peripheral. But I think but I think Xbox are just like, right, okay, then you can literally plug a mouse and keyboard into things. I mean, as for mappers, do you know what I mean? Or for people who who prefer mouse and keyboard, it could be a nice addition.
That could be good, but here's the question: can you set hotkeys? Because that would be the only reason why you would probably use a keyboard for map editing on console.
Well, I mean, obviously that brings a whole new slew of things, to it. Adding a mouse and keyboard onto the thing. I mean, for me, it's not something that I would do. Like, I can't sit in a living room and mess with a mouse and keyboard. Sometimes, like, I just want to come home. Like say for instance, I'm coming home from work and I want to do like 5 minutes of editing. I can either come upstairs to my my little office and mess about on my PC, or I can sit in the living room on my comfortable sofa with the controller and do like half an hour worth of editing. Do you know what I mean? So
that's what I do.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You want to be comfortable, because I know sitting at a desk here for 2 hours editing is very difficult. Do you know what I mean? for sure. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be nice to just sort of sit. I mean, that's where I started, sitting in the living room and just map editing. Do you know what I mean? So that will be an interesting feature. Coming to Xbox. I don't know anything about the PlayStation 4. I've not heard anything, because I know that it brings a whole heap of other problems, especially for playing multiplayer. So keyboard and mouse. A lot of people would say that it would be unfair because some people have got keyboard and mouse, and keyboard and mouse are more accurate than the controller. Do you know what I mean? So that could definitely bring a ton of other problems.
Yeah, I don't think they actually worked it all out. I remember watching some stuff on the Xbox, and they were talking about making separate lobbies possibly for multiplayer. People with keyboard, like you could have the option, but I don't know how far they went with this so far.
Yeah, I don't think it's an amazing idea. I think it kind of takes away from the whole console. The point of the console, is a joypad. I mean, if you're gonna go keyboard and mouse, it's more, get a PC.
Yeah, you might as well get a PC, right?
That's true. It takes you. I mean, you've definitely. I know the difference, between the living room experience and the basically sitting at the desk type of thing. Sitting at the desk, I don't know how I could sort of like sit in my living room and like I'd have to have like a little table. Yeah, I'd have to have like a tabletop in the living room. You know what I mean?
A
and
lap table.
A lap table. Yeah, a lap table. I'd kind of feel uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? In that way. Do you know what I mean?
More of a gimmick, and I don't really think many people take it up. It would be like a gimmick.
That's true. I don't think most people will take it up, but it's about the options, really. I mean, on PC, you can use a controller or keyboard in most programs, either or. Obviously, most of the time you're using a keyboard, but you can plug in a controller for most games.
Yeah.
An Xbox controller mainly, but wouldn't be bad to have the option for console.
I brought up this subject when we were like, testing everything out, and they reported that in some places that there'll be 10 players against each other, and then 12 for Far Cry 5. So, what do you think about them numbers for multiplayer maps?
10 against 10?
Yeah, no, it's 5 against 5 or 6 against 6. There was 2 reports out that I seen that some places are reporting. I
think that's
5 versus 5.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there should be 10v10 at least, but I mean that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, on Instinct's Predator, it was 8 versus 8, and I thought that was just about perfect.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think that was good, but that's also like 4 more players than what they said, right? For Far Cry 5.
Well, I'm hoping even the extra player would be good. I'm hoping it's 6 versus 6.
I think 5v5 is a little too small.
5v5. Oh, wow. That is way too small.
The biggest part about that is it ruins. It's not gonna ruin, but it's gonna make it a lot harder to get a lot of people together to play maps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 10 people, so it's still good, but 14 at least.
Even them 2 extra players. So I'm hoping it's at least 6 versus 6.
Yeah.
I know when I used to host Instinct's Predator, not everybody had the best internet connection, so we might host 14 instead of 16 because you get a lot of lag in the game. And there would be like one player not going to the bathroom or something, and you could feel the difference when you're playing a game when some people are not being involved in the game. And in Far Cry 3, everybody started making out like fairly decent sized, medium sized maps, and then as the community was dying off, everybody's maps started getting smaller and smaller because you could
couldn't get the players. Yeah.
One map, and then that connection was horrible in there. When they patched in, you could host maps when Ubisoft was kind of listening to the editors saying, "Hey, can't we host maps?" And they're like, "Oh, we put a patch in. You can play one map." And then the lobby dissolves, and you got to try and invite everybody else in. So that
was interesting when some people tried doing that, and you know what? It kind of worked for the first 10 maps when like one guy would like leave, like a lot of builders, and everybody would join really quickly. But like, really?
Yeah, it was horrible, and then everybody had to invite everybody again. It's like, you know, they seem like they tried, but I don't know if they realized how important it was to host maps, you know. And I hope they do it this time, you know. Far Cry 5.
So guys, I mean, I know I've asked this question like, you know, so many times, and it's like, how like excited are you for the new Far Cry 5?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it, to be honest.
I mean,
I'm excited, depending how excited the community is excited. I play Far Cry for the community, so.
I mean, I'm pretty excited this time. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm actually as excited as I was when I heard Far Cry. Remember, I said this. Heard Far Cry 3 came out, and then when it came out, my heart literally sunk. I was probably the most happiest person on the planet, and then I was the most disappointed. Do you know what I mean? I was like, it was almost like my soul was crushed. Only because, like, yeah, listen, right. I'm gonna say I got roasted by Ubisoft. Literally, do you know what I mean? Only because of this, yeah. Like for me, when I first started mapping on Far Cry 2, it was like, did everyone here play with Lego when they were young?
Yeah.
Of course, I still have Legos.
Right. Okay. You know that feeling when you're just crafting something. You know, when you were a kid. Yeah. It's like, well, for me, yeah, Far Cry map editing was like being thrown, yeah, into a large Lego box. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was sort of like satisfying. Yeah, I couldn't believe, yeah, that I could build things. And then even better was when I started to learn how to custom build. I was like, wow, this is just like crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like I just got thrown into that mix. So I kind of feel that kind of excitement, but I'm also laid back with it as well at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of reserved but excited at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, it's more cautious than anything else.
Yeah, it ain't like Far Cry 3, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to set myself up for disappointment, really and truthfully. Like I'm expecting the worst as well. Do you know what I mean? At the same time,
you're expecting maybe to get roasted again.
Definitely. The next thing that I want to cover tonight is like I said at the beginning of the podcast, Fallen Champ. He obviously he couldn't be here tonight because he got work related roasted. But he gave us a couple of things to have a look at, and one of the wow, it's just gone absolutely pear shaped. I had it on my what do you call it, and it's just disappeared on me. Right, let me see. Hang on a second. Okay. Right, what it is? Yeah, it's a book. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh yeah.
Was it called Absolution? I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. Far Cry Absolution. I'm actually I'm a reader myself. I don't know if you guys are readers. And I know the story is kind of interesting so far. So I'm not sure whether I'm interested in the book or not. Do you know what I mean? I'm curious.
I'm interested, depending how good they make the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people questions with, like, how does this cult take over a whole state? United States. Yeah. And supposedly that book I read about it. You know what it was supposed to be about was that the events that happen in the Far Cry 5 campaign is kind of explained in that book.
Okay.
So it does seem interesting,
right.
How this cult would start taking over different parts of the state. And I heard they would shut down like communication towers or whatever, and it seemed like it would be an interesting read.
Okay, so that's I mean that's something that I would definitely be interested in, but I think it would be something that, like, say for instance, it like Slim said, it would be it would depend on how the story of Far Cry 5 gets me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know the gameplay is going to be like a type of run and gun. Oh, do you know something? I have to throw something in here. Recently, I've been playing the new Wolfenstein 2. And I know you guys are probably asking me, like, what's Wolfenstein 2 got to do with Far Cry 5? Well, for me, Wolfenstein 2, there was a lot of elements in Wolfenstein 2 that made me think, do you know what I mean? It was almost like playing Far Cry. Do you know what I mean? And one of the things that got me was the story in Wolfenstein 2. It was very, very hard hitting, very interesting, and even though the gameplay was high action, but the story was very gripping in itself. So when it came to the cutscenes, I actually didn't mind sitting back and watching the cutscenes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, and I know that it's by two different people, two different publishers, and games companies, but still, I'm hoping that the Far Cry 5 story grips me, because that's what I buy a game for anyway. Any game for me, it's always about the story first and foremost. Do you know what I mean? So that would be interesting. Sepho, what's your take on it? Because I've not heard you say anything about the story or anything like that. So what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think the story is the main reason to play the game. Obviously, I mean, visually it looks really good. The graphics look really good. The mechanics of the game look good from what I've seen so far. The story, from what I've heard about the story, it's interesting. But like you guys were saying, I mean, how do you take over? How does a cult take over like that without there being any repercussions? And how are you just one guy? But I'm sure that'll get expanded on.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to the story. Definitely, I think the story seems like a really good story.
interesting story. Yeah. What about you, Slim?
Me? If I just play the game in co-op, that's fine with me. I'm not
You just play and get roasted. That's it.
Just make sure you're the host.
Yeah, just make sure I'm the host. Hey, Sucka, I'm gonna be a host, all right?
You and Dapper. Who are you talking about?
Another thing as well too was the digital deluxe packs. I think that there are 2 packs, aren't there? I think there's one for the States, which is called the Far Cry 5 Collector's Edition, that you can pre-order, which has a Steelbook Gold Edition, Hope County postcards, premium statue, a bandana and other items. And UK gets the Father edition, which is much cheaper but still expensive. It's like £89.99. Yeah, exactly. The collector's edition for the US is $200.
Wow.
a big wall of silence.
I'm not that big of a fan.
I can name like 3 games I'll get a collector's edition for, and those are like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
as much as I like the Far Cry editor, I play for the editor, not for the story. So the statue beats nothing to me, probably.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just even if they were to have a season pass, it's not something that I will buy straight off. I would just I'm more interested in just sort of like purchasing I don't do season passes and I don't do DLC unless the DLC is actually worth it in the first place. So I want to see what the DLC has to offer. So for me, I always purchase the main game. I know that they do. If you buy the DLC with the main game, then it's a lot cheaper. But for me, I would rather purchase the main game. For any Far Cry that I've ever played, I've never played the DLC anyway. I've never bought into the DLC. Never. Do you know what I mean? That's just something.
I played one DLC. It was the map editor objects.
What's that from?
Blood Dragon.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, they gave it to us for free, didn't
Well, I know. That's why I played
Yeah.
it.
All right. But the problem with then the guy who wanted to play your map couldn't play it.
That's true.
So that was a fail in a way.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's much ways around that. And again, I'm gonna talk about Trials Fusion and Trials.
Yes.
I mean, if you have a DLC, there was like 7 DLC for Trials Fusion, so 6 that were in the season pass, and then 1 separate.
Yeah.
To play those maps, you did have to have them, the DLC, but like, there was no reason to play Trials without the DLCs, honestly, because most people played it for the map editor. So, and playing tracks.
What do
We
you?
had the same problem as the fans for Far Cry 5. Far Cry.
What do you guys think about sort of like customization? Because I know that you can sort of like customize your character, and one of the things that I'm more concerned about, and something that me personally I wouldn't be getting, you can customize your character, but with it being an FPS, you cannot see what you're actually wearing.
That's true, but in Predator, you could customize your character a little bit, couldn't you? And that was actually kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah,
To choose what character you could be with, they had a whole choice of characters you could have, and I used to run around with flip flops, and everybody thought that.
But I'm actually talking about. Like these seem to be like packs that you have to, that you may have to buy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Point that you're saying, and they're only talking about pain. Now, wouldn't it be great if Ubisoft came out and says, "Hey, by the way, these clothes or jackets or whatever, when you play the multiplayer, custom maps, your character will look like that."
Yeah.
That'd be great if they gave us some information or skins for your guns. Or if
Now
you're driving-
that's different. I mean, I don't mind having skins for my guns or my weapons or anything because I can see them on screen. So it's something that I have to visually see. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that I can see, is like, say for instance, I don't know, Lazy Mapper and myself are playing a co-op. I can only see what he's changed into. Do you know what I mean?
True,
but I
you can
can't
also see how cool he looks. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that for me is like a novelty. That's something that I personally wouldn't buy into. But like I said, weapon skins now, that's different because I can see my weapon in front of me, so I know what I'm purchasing. So if you're purchasing skins, I'd rather, why would I purchase something that I can't see? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'd take it or leave it.
Not unless they put a mirror inside the game.
Maybe it's in the
Oh,
editor.
there you go. You gotta get Kim to buy it.
That's an interesting point. In Far Cry 3, you could tattoo, and you couldn't really tell if it was that good, but you'd see like an end shot, like the end of the game, and you're like, wow, my tattoo does look good.
Yeah, that was something that I never bought into myself again. Do you know what I mean? That's just something that I didn't check out. Do you know what I mean? So I
Oh,
was,
wait, you could edit tattoos? You could, couldn't you?
yeah.
Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that feature in Far Cry 3 for sure.
You could have had roasted on your arm.
Yeah, for definite. That would be the new film, Roasted.
That'd be cool if you could design your own stuff in Far Cry 5 and put it on,
Yeah. So guys, I mean, is there anything else that we can cover tonight? Because we've covered quite a lot. I know everybody was kind of disappointed in the trailer, so we're still looking forward to some new information.
Ubisoft, we're waiting on the map editor trailer, please.
That's a good point.
Yeah, map editor and multiplayer.
Yeah, that would be
You
great.
want this map editor to succeed, you need to make the public aware of the map editor.
I'm glad you brought this up. I had a question for Slim because I haven't had, and he played some of the older Far Cries as I did, and me and Fallen Champ also agreed. If you played Far Cry Instincts Predator and Far Cry 2, like a lot of people didn't go back that far. They started at Far Cry 2, and they had
Didn't Ubisoft only come in on Far Cry 2 though? Is that right?
No, they bought it off Crytek when Far Cry Instincts was coming back.
Right.
Alright, okay.
And so I always think that Far Cry Instincts gets a cold shoulder because it was like mostly produced by Crytek.
Yeah.
But anyway, they used to have a mode called Steal the Sample, and it was
Ah.
it was like great. It was like really
Yeah, it was
awesome.
great.
And it
Still
was
the
like
Sample and Predator.
yeah, yeah. Predator was great too. You know, either or both modes would be awesome if they could implement that in Far Cry
Yes.
5. You know?
Yeah, Still the Sample is also 2 different game modes, so
Yeah, but it was so
Depending
neat.
how you make your
It
map.
was like capture the flag, but you could actually toss it to your teammates, so it kept the
Oh,
game
cool.
going. And it was really exciting to play that. And it actually, you know, some people request me to join them, and it's still on a Xbox 360. They never made it backwards compatible. My point was like capture the diamonds. That was cool too, but
Yeah.
it wasn't as I guess fun to play as steal the sample.
that's true. But both of them, you could change the spawns and have a different type of game mode. So instead of like getting the sample and going
Yeah.
back to your base, you could take the sample to the enemy's base instead and score that way because your
Yeah,
base would be
that
in
was
their
kinda cool
base.
too.
It's hard to explain.
That's a mod that I would have tried out myself, but I just never got to play it. But I know that Fallen Champ had recently put up a video of Steal the Sample.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen that.
With Alpha Sergeant too. He helped make the video, and it was just a blast to play that game. And I just hope that Far Cry 5, they have game modes that they're stuff that we all know, because when they experiment a little too much, people don't get into it. It's, they're like, what are we
Oh.
doing?
While
Bow and arrows.
while we're actually talking about Alpha Sergeant as well too, because I know his name's come up a few times. I would like to give a massive shout out to Alpha Sergeant. What an incredible map maker.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, for going out on Far Cry 4, coming into Far Cry 5, I think that guy deserves a shout out because he's created some incredible things. Like he's the type of guy that when you see his map, you envy him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, some incredible work. Laggy as hell.
On Predator too. You might not have seen his maps, but he literally placed. You know how his maps now are just green everywhere, like infinite plants. He did the same thing on Predator.
But
Yeah,
such an incredible artist. I have to say that he's an artist. I was stunned, when I saw the piano for the first time. What was it I played was Sanctuary. And if anyone's watching, and you've got a PC, go and download that map, the Sanctuary,
There's two
and
versions of it.
the Sanctuary, and what was the other one that he released? I played it.
I don't remember the name.
Dunwich Horror,
Yeah.
that's the one. Dunwich Horror was actually the first one I played, actually, not Sanctuary. Sanctuary was the one that was submitted into the Map Jam, Map Jam 2
Guys.
contest.
Dunwich Horror is like 1/10, I think, maybe actual map they was supposed to release.
Wow.
Wow.
Such an incredible, an incredible map. There was so much to look at, so much he created. I mean, even as far as going to making cobwebs. The detail, yeah.
I love
Listen,
cigarettes.
I have to say this, yeah. The detail, was sick, right? Like there was even like the coffin that you escaped from. You could see the nails in the coffin. Do you know what I mean? Work that one out.
Cough, cough.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. I wonder whose idea that coffin was.
But
So you're just
I'll never
you're a
know.
sicko. People in a coffin and break themselves out.
and then there was that vehicle as well too. There was that vehicle. The car. That car, man.
Yeah, the car's really nice.
That's just
you can
it's
get multiple storage containers,
insane.
Trunk in the back and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
what's so great about it too is when you look in the the ring draws you in. Like it's unbelievable. In the back, he had the trunk and he had like items in there, and it looked like I'm like, wow, man.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, those maps and Alpha Sergeant, I think Ubisoft need to pay attention to something like that, because that in itself, is what map editing is about. As far as I'm concerned, do you know what I mean? That's like, that's the sort of like, the attention. I mean, all of us are great map editors here. I'm not just picking Alpha Sergeant out, but what I'm saying to you is, from my point of view, some of the incredible things that he's made. All of us, aspire to make maps just as good as that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or the custom maps.
Just custom.
He's the top guy making custom.
I don't mind giving credit where credit's due, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? But like I said, I do believe that Ubisoft need to pay attention to that. If they see what's being created with that map, I mean, you're talking about taking other items and building other things with it. That's thinking outside of the box. That's the reason why we like map editing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if Ubisoft actually literally pay attention to that, maybe they might see something in it. Maybe they might see what we're actually all talking about.
Yes.
Also, did they even play that map for the competition? I'm just kind of curious.
I'm not sure.
I would have thought that had best graphics hands down, to be honest.
Well,
you know what won, did you?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to.
we're not trying. Yeah.
But
It's not the creator's fault his map got chosen. It's just a lot of us have disagreements on what map should have been chosen. Obviously, Seto deserved his win, and Long Rider.
Oh, definitely.
But I honestly, I would have picked other people over most of the maps. I mean, Palace Escape deserved it too, I think. But
Well,
I would say half the maps.
I would say, I didn't get the chance to play Saboteur's Fox Hunt, but I know that was.
Oh, that's different. The player voted were they're fine. Player voted were fine. I'm just talking about the picks by the developers.
Have they done any honourable mentions yet? I've not seen.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were supposed to do that, but that's a good point to bring up in the forums, because I'm curious why they wouldn't choose Alpha Sergeants.
Well, obviously the only reason is because it's lag, and they don't want to showcase lag in their game.
I mean, that's what me and Fallen Champ talked about. I said
Yeah.
the only reason I could went way past the budget,
I think I was actually in the chat as well too, because we all three of us had a chat. Me, you, and Fallen Champ had a chat about that, and we said the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's the case, it would be nice to say, hey, your map was the best, but we got to put a limit on. I think give some kind of explanation. That would be.
That's the reason why I felt that Alpha Sergeant deserved a shout out by us anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, give credit where credit's due. Doing something like, I don't know how long it took him to build something like that, but I know for me it would have taken me. Sorry, say that again.
What's it, 3 days? You're funny.
No, 3 days. Right.
It would take me 3 years to.
He started 3 days before the competition ended.
No, but he probably had already assets already made for that anyway.
Assets.
He would have had. Yeah.
Church was new.
Church
was new.
Yeah, he would have
the
had.
Coffins were new.
He would have had an asset map, because that's something that I would do. You put your first map out, and then you don't really want to rebuild things, so you have like an asset map, and you just take things out that you need and keep things that you don't need. I mean, keep things that you need, and then just take out other things that you don't need. Do you know what I mean? There was the typewriter there as well too. The chandeliers, just
the camera.
The camera as well too. So there's so many things that you could pick out. That everything in that map, in those maps, custom built, just insane. Do you know what I mean? So listen, we're gonna sort of like wrap things up for tonight. I think we've covered quite a lot tonight. It's been a good been a good podcast. Does anyone else want to say anything about Far Cry 5 or mention anything else?
Map as a thriller.
Yeah, just give us a map edit.
Yes, please, Ubisoft.
Oh wow. Okay.
Throw us a bone, would you?
Anything.
anything. So guys, it's been we're gonna wrap things up tonight. It's been an interesting podcast. Our second podcast. It's a shame that Fallen Champ couldn't be with us, but he gave me plenty of things to talk about for definite. Because when he types, he gives you some long conference type.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
This is stuff.
Definitely. So yeah, Fallen Champ, you are missed tonight. So we are giving you a really large shout out. Also, everyone who's joined us in the chat, Steve Botter, Remo, the usual, have joined us. Cepho is in the chat as well, and here. And I'd like to thank Cepho and Slim Reaper for joining us as well too. It's been an absolute crazy blast. For anyone who doesn't know how to get hold of us, please check out my information page on Twitch. You will find my YouTube channel, also Lazy Mappers channel, and Fallen Champs YouTube channel. You can get at us on Twitter. You can get at me on Twitter as well. And on Facebook, there will be links to that on Twitch. It's been an interesting podcast.
I just say one thing. So, what are our guests planning on doing? What do you guys got plans? Any projects?
For Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 4?
For anything in general.
Right now, I was waiting for another competition.
Yeah,
Waiting for another competition.
Far Cry.
I think Battle Map is having a competition too.
I saw that, but it's been going on for a while. I don't know when they're gonna officially start it.
And I'm in the process of building a map myself, which is coming along nicely. So that's in the pipeline. I'm actually hoping to get that finished. I was hoping to get that finished by the end of this month, November, but it might creep into December by the looks of it, because I'm only like 40% done.
Yeah, I look forward to that, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think I've got about 4 maps on the go at the moment, but then
wow.
Steve Botter gave me some mods, and I've never played with him before, so I've still been playing about with him.
You guys released? I haven't played it yet. Yeah, I have one thing going, but but it's not Far Cry related. It's a mod, so.
Okay. Is it a mod for Far Cry?
It's a mod. No, it's a mod for Skyrim. It's a house mod.
Oh, that's cool, man. Right.
Yeah, so
that's the thing about the mods too. It would be great if Ubisoft started to embrace them. A lot of games have that, like Grand Theft Auto and stuff.
Oh, you mean regards to the PC version?
Yeah, well, they could do it on consoles now. They've been porting them over.
Oh, the mods for Elder Scrolls?
Yeah.
I mean, they're also the first people to do it. Nobody else has done it.
Yeah.
So, guys, we can talk about Far Cry
true.
all night. So, listen, we're definitely gonna have to wrap things up. It's always great. We can get carried away sometimes, but it's been an interesting topic. So again, thanks to Cepho and Slim for joining us as guests.
No problem.
Next podcast will be in December. We don't know the date yet. We've not worked out the date, but I'm sure we will inform you of the date of the podcast. Look forward to it, because it's going to go hard. Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to go hard, and we're going to talk about most of the iterations of Far Cry, and the things that could be done with regards to multiplayer and the editor and the longevity of it. I mean, obviously, if Ubisoft want to make some money, then we have some ideas that we will throw out on the next podcast for sure.
Cool.
So that would be interesting to talk about, guys. So has anyone got anything to say before we actually leave the podcast?
Already said it.
Yeah, I already said.
Right, that's it.
I just
Map
say
editor trailer.
thanks
Trailer.
for everybody for joining us.
Yeah,
It was fun.
definitely. All right, and with that, we're gonna end it here. We'll see you in the next podcast. Enjoy and peace.
All right.